Hey, folks, welcome back to Rugby Ascendant. This is Chris in central Pennsylvania. No, I'm not in the mother city of Cape Town at DHL Stadium, although that appears in the background. But that will be the scene for this year's Rugby World Cup Sevens in Cape Town, the 9th to 11th of September. I'll be there covering it live, and you can watch updates, interviews, and human interest stories right here on Rugby Ascendant. But let's get to what we're here to talk about today, and that's what happened over this past weekend. Now, a lot of us were focused on international test rugby at the end of the series between New Zealand and Ireland, which Ireland won. Good Lord, first time a team's won that. Only third time in history that a team has won a three-game tournament in New Zealand. And the New Zealand fans, the All Blacks, are losing their minds over it. The worst team in All Blacks history, and we've heard much worse. Australia managed to squander away another victory, and England came out the 2-1 winner in Australia. Then Scotland got taken down by Argentina. Of course, the big one a lot of us are focused on is the Springboks managed to put their act together and defeat Wales and win that series after Wales won their first ever victory in South African soil the previous week in Bloemfontein. Well, that game was played right here at DHL Stadium in Greenpoint in Cape Town. And that will be the scene of the Rugby World Cup 2022 Sevens. It's been 4 years since this one took place right here in San Francisco, folks. Can you imagine? That was an incredible tournament. I was at that tournament as well, and it was fascinating. I was not happy with the outcome there, expecting USA to medal. They didn't, the men, and also expecting South Africa to do well. They didn't do well either. It's disappointing. We'll see what happens this time around in Cape Town, and I'm looking forward to it. But there was a pool stage to fill out the rest of the pools. There were 24 teams. That was whittled down to just 8 that arrived in Romania over the weekend, competing for 4 men's and 4 women's slots. Spain, England, Poland, and Ireland secured their places in the women's tournament at Rugby World Cup Sevens 2022. On the men's side, Wales, Germany, Portugal, and Ireland made sure they're also in it. So we now have the full 40-team complement for Rugby World Cup Sevens 2022. Now, that event takes place in a short order in only 7 weeks, and so the last teams are qualified. The total teams qualified now, there were some that were pre-qualified, and those pre-qualified teams included, of course, New Zealand, South Africa, the host, Argentina, France, England, Fiji, USA, and Scotland on the men's side. On the women's side, there were 5 pre-qualified teams: New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, France, and the USA. So 11 additional teams qualified from the regional tournaments, including the one in Europe that just concluded for the women, 16 from the men's, which gives the men 24 teams and the women 16 teams for this, what should prove to be a quite exciting weekend. So the 24 men's teams are South Africa, Argentina, England, Fiji, France, New Zealand, Scotland, USA, Uganda, Zimbabwe, Kenya, Hong Kong, cool, Korea, Australia, Samoa, Tonga, Chile, Uruguay, Canada, Jamaica, Germany, Ireland, Portugal, and Wales. Some pretty exciting stuff right there, folks. We'll see Uganda and Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, of course, was in the previous one. And Hong Kong, nice entrant there. And Korea, interesting development there, as well as Chile. For the women, the 16 teams are South Africa, Australia, France, New Zealand, USA, Madagascar, Japan, China, Fiji, Brazil, Colombia, Canada, England, Ireland, Poland, and Spain. China's been there before, and most of the rest of the teams have been there at one time or another. The Polish women have been really exciting on the Sevens tournament. We'll see what happens with them. Anyway, folks, thanks for tuning in. This has been an update for the Rugby World Cup, and we'll be giving you more updates as this event approaches in September. At the 9th to 11th of September at DHL Stadium in Greenpoint in the mother city of Cape Town. I'll be there, and I'll be covering it. Be sure to tune in. Let's go Bucks, and let's go Eagles.